This might sound surprising, but early sobriety gives you a lot of opportunities to surprise yourself, and that cravings aren't something that you should fear. Cravings teach us something deeper about ourselves if we're willing to listen. Once I realized that, it became so much easier for me to sit with cravings when I experienced them. Hey guys, I'm Ladette. And in today's video, I'm sharing the real way that I got through cravings in early sobriety. There were a lot of little things that helped me when I first quit drinking alcohol, but for the purpose of today's video, I want to talk about one specific thing that was just a key factor. If you're sober curious or you're already on your journey, today's video is going to be for you. Let's jump straight in. The single most important thing that I did when cravings came up for me was sit with them. And that might sound too simple or too good to be true, but the biggest thing that I did for myself was not run away. Anytime I had a craving, anytime I was afraid of that craving, whatever the feeling was, I actually would take that opportunity in that moment to sit down and address exactly what I was feeling. And so I'm going to break it down on what that looked like for me, because there were a series of questions that I would ask myself. There were a series of steps that I would take in those moments. So when a craving would come up, I would just pause and ask myself how I was feeling. And I would kind of look at it like a little mini audit of what I was going through that day or that week. So I would ask myself, what happened today? Was there something that someone said, or was it something that happened at work? Was it something that happened on my way to the gym? Like just a full-on audit of how did I feel from the moment I woke up until this particular moment right now where I'm experiencing this craving. I would try to pinpoint if there were just stressors in my day, and did I start my day feeling upset or stressed? Because if I didn't, if the answer was no, then that would always tell me, okay, something came up then. Like at some point in the day, something came up that's causing me to feel triggered for some reason, and that's making me have that craving for alcohol. Because by the way, that's pretty much how I always coped. If I was stressed, if I was upset, if I was not having a good day, if I was sad, my coping mechanism was to numb those feelings. And so it was really important for me in the beginning to identify the things that were triggering me. And I will say sometimes this takes a little bit of time. I had to be patient with myself, because there were times where I would really be like fully thinking about this 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in, and still like, why am I not understanding my trigger right now? Why am I still not pinpointing what it is that upset me? I just want to say, be patient with yourself, because maybe you don't know. Maybe there might be days where you're like, I don't know why I'm feeling off right now. And so it's equally as important to give yourself that grace. But if you dig deep enough, 9.9 times out of 10, there should be something within the day that happened, or just something that you can pinpoint to why am I feeling this trigger. And so for me, I gave myself as much time as I would need. And once I would find the thing that was triggering me, I would then ask myself, okay, what do I really need right now? Would alcohol actually make me feel better, or would it just numb me down and temporarily make me forget about the problem? Because for me, that's not a solution, especially in my early sobriety. I didn't want to numb myself anymore. I didn't want to avoid things that I avoided for so long. I wanted to address things that were within me, things that I was holding on to, because I recognized that it wasn't serving me, and that for me to really heal and move on and grow and evolve into the better version of myself, that there were things that I had to just face head on. And so if it was that I was just feeling insecure on a day that I had a craving, if I identified that, okay, I'm just feeling insecure about myself today, maybe someone said something to me and now I'm just kind of doubting myself, maybe that was the reason, then that follow-up question of what do I need right now wouldn't be alcohol. Even though my brain might be telling me to go towards the bottle, in those moments, I would tell myself that's not going to make me feel better. Because if I'm feeling insecure, how does alcohol make me feel better? It doesn't. What's going to actually make me feel better is maybe going to the gym, maybe going for a walk, maybe doing my makeup for the day, maybe doing like some self-care, maybe taking a hot bath, right? And so it really helped me to pinpoint where the trigger was stemming from, and then to follow that up with, okay, what would actually make me feel better? Something that's healthy, something that has nothing to do with drinking alcohol, right? Because in my sober journey, that was the point. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, it's similar. Like you're either trying to slow your drinking down, or maybe you close that chapter entirely in your life. So I just want to say it really does help to find things that do make you feel good and to really honor that when you can. Because for me, what really helped was actually honoring what I needed. So it would be one thing for me to say, oh, I think going for a walk will make me feel better. But it's different to actually go and take that walk. It's different to actually go and do the thing that deep down is what you're emotionally craving, which kind of leads me into the next thing that I would do, which was understanding the deeper rooted thing beneath the craving. Like, what do I really need? What is it that spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, what is it that I'm craving there? Because for me, understanding that alcohol was a mask really was a game changer. In moments where I would feel a little bit weak, in moments where I would feel like, oh my gosh, I feel like I might break, I might go and drink alcohol, I might do something I'm going to regret, or whatever the case is, I would remind myself, like, hey, you don't really want alcohol right now. It's not that you want to drink, it's not that you're having a craving for alcohol. There's a craving for something deeper than that. There's a craving beneath the alcohol. Alcohol is just the mask. And so that really helped me dig deeper within myself and try to understand myself on a more emotional, spiritual level. Because if it wasn't that I was craving alcohol, it made me wonder, what am I craving then? And a lot of the times it was safety. It was feeling grounded in myself. It was craving just wanting to feel confident and sure of myself and sure of the decisions that I was making. And so having that understanding was really liberating and empowering, because it was just always that reminder of, like, no, it's not that you're weak. It's not that you want to drink alcohol. It's not that alcohol has this power over you. It's just that it was a mask for a deeper rooted issue. But knowing that really did help me say no when I did have cravings. And it helped me say yes to doing inner work, to doing self-development. So yeah, times where if I was feeling low, I would really just try to prioritize either journaling or asking myself those questions of, like, why do I feel low today? What contributed to that feeling? Why is it that that particular event made me feel this way? What can I do to feel better? What can I do to get through this? What can I do to be a better version of myself? And really just prioritizing self-love in every way possible, even if it was a couple minutes a day. Really just giving myself love and falling back on that as much as I needed really helped me. The other thing that I did was play it forward. And I'm sure that you've heard about it before. That was one thing that actually came up a lot during my sober journey. I would be searching how to quit alcohol. I would be searching people who are sober curious, or I would be searching sober curious journey on YouTube. Like, I was just so into hearing other people's stories because I felt like that would motivate me. And it did. And one key thing that came up that so many people said was to play it forward. And so in those moments where I would have those cravings, not only would I pinpoint what was bothering me, not only would I pinpoint, okay, what can I do to feel better right now? What is it that I actually need and how can I honor that? I would also play it forward. So it's like I would have a solution. So if I was feeling insecure, for example, and that was my trigger, I would put in my mind, okay, what's going to help me feel better right now? And maybe it was going to the gym. Like I said, maybe it was doing my makeup. So I would play those scenarios forward in my brain. Okay, what happens if I choose to drink alcohol? How am I going to feel? What's going to be the outcome? How is it going to affect my day the next day? Versus playing the scenario forward in my head of what happens if I go to the gym? What happens if I just do my makeup? What happens if I just go outside, right? And just go for like a 10-minute walk? 10 times out of 10, for that second decision, I'm going to feel better. I'm actually going to feel more confident. I know that I'm going to be happy with the decision to stay sober and to do something more productive that fulfills that need that I'm having in that moment of just wanting to feel confident. Versus if I play it forward, me drinking, I know I'm going to feel bad. 10 times out of 10, I'm going to feel guilty. 10 times out of 10, I'm going to feel a little bit ashamed. 10 times out of 10, it's going to be some sort of negative emotion. Versus the other option where I'm going to be happy and proud of myself and prove to myself that I can get through these cravings. And one thing that I will say is when you're on your sober journey, every time you say no to alcohol, if that's your goal, some people, by the way, might just want to slow it down and not close that chapter entirely. That is completely okay. But I think anyone watching can relate to this part of, like, anytime you say no, you actually say yes to yourself. And that type of confidence is something that I can't explain. It's unmatched. And every time that I have been able to say no, I really have just molded myself into a stronger person and proved to myself, like, damn, something that once held me back, something that once had so much control of my life, no longer. It has no control at all of my life. Like, saying no is a no-brainer. It's so natural. It's so easy for me now. I don't even question it. And that is because of all of the no's I said in the beginning. The more that you can just play it forward, the more that you just continue to choose yourself, the easier it is, the stronger you become. And so those are just some of the things that I would do when I would have a craving. There are so many other smaller things and bigger things that have helped me with my sober journey, but the thing that really helped me the most was just taking advantage of the opportunity to sit with a craving, because it's one thing to distract yourself, you could totally ignore the craving and just keep yourself busy, which can be effective. Like that can also be just as effective. But I have found that those cravings come up for a reason because there's that underlying feeling, or just there's something there that your body is wanting you to address, that your soul, your whatever. You don't even have to be spiritual, but it's just, I have realized that cravings are there for a reason. And the more you take advantage of the opportunity to address it, the more you have breakthroughs, the easier it starts to become, the more sure of yourself you become. Because anytime you work on yourself and you heal, you free yourself. I have found the process of sitting with cravings as just such beautiful moments to free myself of some things that I've held on to from the past, whether it was a limiting belief or an insecurity. So for me, 10 times out of 10, it has been worth it. Anytime I had a craving, sitting with it, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like there were times where it was really hard. There were tears shed. It was uncomfortable depending on what was going on that day, but it has always been worth it. So I just want to say that I know sobriety can feel really overwhelming. I mean, you can even be months into your journey and it can still be really overwhelming, and that's okay. When cravings hit, just remember that they pass. You're strong enough to handle them, and that every time you do, you're building your self-trust, which I just think is beautiful. If you guys want to know about some of the other tips and tricks and tools that help me with cravings and just in general with early sobriety, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to create another video. And if this video resonated, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe for more sober content. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!